Hello, my name is Vigil, and this is my stream journal. The date is 6/12/2022. The time is 9:56. I spent all yesterday writing just crazy amounts of meta-narrative, fictional reality, art, essentially, on my social media accounts. And I don't have any followers. I don't really try to get followers. People think I'm weird, which is fine with me. But I'm coming to this process or this point where I have to process all this trauma, and one of the only ways to do it is to write about it fictionally. And it's more than that though. I love writing. I love writing a lot. Um, it's it's what keeps me from. This keeps me growing as a person, I guess. And anyways, I want to create a video game company, and I'm working this summer towards that, among several other objectives. I I don't know, man. I'm just super fucking traumatized from what happened over the past 10 years, 20 years. I'm 30 now, so it's been 15 years since this really started. And society sucks. No way to escape it though, because if you try to leave and you have something they want, I guess I've decided several things, but there's some sort of mental block, like an electrical current in my head that makes it really hard to think of specific words. And so the Black Wings of the apotheosis religion are like the meta elite, or the elite of the elite. And the whole point of training them is to build a temple. And I wrote about it in a fictional context, but I'm going to try to start making my fictional narratives reality, in the sense of uh, the training program ALIS, which ties into the Black Wings, and the temple and the apotheosis, and Network and Aeon, all these fictional realities that I've been making for my video games. I'm going to try to make them real in real life. I'm going to merge fiction and nonfiction, and I'm going to do everything I can to make what is the equivalent of the Jedi and the Network Republic a reality. It sucks because I'm in the hands of evil right now with the whole government and shit. But I'll probably persevere. Their nation's collapsing faster than I'm degrading. And anyways, so the Network and the Republic, the Black Wings and the Network, they, it feels like an inhibitor, like an electrode inhibitor in my brain that makes it hard to say these words. And um, anyways, so the Black Wings are the meta elite. As we spread the religion of the apotheosis to all of creation, to the 800 sextillion planets, with 40 billion people on it per generation or whatever, that's hundreds of trillions, hundreds of millions of trillions. And I want to spread my new religion to all of them and have a percentage of a percentage join me in my efforts to make the network real and join the network, MulSpatCom, or the Multiverse Spacetime Command, which is all theoretical stuff. But so yeah, I spread my religion, a percentage of the population, a fraction of a fraction, which is still trillions in the known universe in the future, join me. We build temples, or training temples, and we train ourselves into the meta elite Black Wings. And then when time travel is invented, because it will be, and a linear multiverse sliding begins, I can send my own forces back in time to begin training me now. They'd hide in plain sight because of causality laws, and the EITO paradox, grandfather paradox that occurs when you're viewing the future and shit. But I create in the future trillions of followers, and from a religion that's genuine. There's no lie in my religion, and I was already practicing it. It's more about the religion of the individual, and it's self-guided, but it's part of a community. They form temples that are training temples on every planet across the universe, and our religion trains meta elites who then create a senate and a council who then build a training program for me retroactively and send it back in time through non-visible means, essentially like in plain sight. And then I train myself moving forward to create the first temple, and it's just a giant alinear paradox. And like it makes a pretty sweet game, in my opinion. But like I'm gonna try to merge fiction and nonfiction together, where my game company and my writings and stuff like that, all these fictional realities, my social media accounts, even this A-list journal, which is really half real, half fake, it'll all merge reality. And like eventually that's the idea, at least, is that I'll blur the lines between fiction and reality with my games and my religion and my belief systems and writings and social media accounts and whatnot. And it's going to be awesome. I was looking at my teeth. Anyways, segueing. So yeah, that's what I was working on all yesterday, and I was writing poetry, I was writing technical scripts, I was writing meta narratives, I was just blitzed on coffee, like kind of out of it, zoning in and out as I was writing, and it was a lot of fun. I'm not going to drink as much coffee today, or any maybe, because it's not something you can do daily. I went to bed at maybe 11 p.m. or 12, woke up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. I've slept 2 naps since then for about 30-40 minutes apiece. I'm not tired, but I'm fatigued, and so I'm going to go to work and then come home, go to the gym, maybe at some point go to sleep. Like I said, I got sleep. It's just I'm not loopy anymore like I was yesterday, and that was completely coffee induced. It wasn't a bad loopy. It was just like essentially blitzed on coffee. You know how you can get when you drink like 5 or 6 cups of coffee. You start zoning in really hardcore, and you like get all weird and shit, which I'm weird. But what else? I'm trying. So my heart, which has been fairly numb for a while, it's an emotional blockage. Like literally, neurons are inhibiting my ability to feel my heart because I just saw so much anguish and pain and suffering that my mind shut it off, or it built like an electrical emotional blockage in the neural network. And as I've been doing this therapeutic work, the body dysmorphia with exposure therapy on my Twitter account, which got rid of my paranoia and my disordered thinking, my anger, which is PTSD, which I'm slowly processing by rethinking about stuff, trying to retrain my ethical belief systems without resorting back to adherence to the former ones. But the emotional blockage, it sucks. It sucks to be numb. And like, it's not a failure on my character. It's literally just neuronal structure that got inhibited because of how badly I had been hurt and the shit I saw on TV. And like, it's horrid. It really is horrid. But I will persevere and overcome. I'm the Stella Prima Rosa of the Blackwings, or the first star rose, or the first rose, star first rose, which means if you look at symbolism of the medieval ages as the first initiate. It's going to be awesome this summer. Once I get through this short period of darkness, like this darkest moment, I'd like this to be the darkest moment because I don't want it to get darker. I'm going to get through this, and then I will persevere, and I'll start making my life how I want it to be, which is a lot less cynical, a lot less degraded, angry, pissed off, hurt, numb. And I will take these broken wings and learn to fly, like that stupid song. And anyways, the wheel within a wheel, time travel, photon frame dragging, entropic particles that are going backwards from negotropy. All this shit is like super easy to build. So I'm gonna start trying to figure out how to build it. Like I want to create a halo so I can start distorting space time, so I can try to get more out of my day. Um, what else? I'm trying to work on the sign language for the travelers. And I have it pretty well down. It's an encoded American Sign Language. I don't know how well it works though, but my government's going to be so much better than this former government that's kind of on the way out. I think we all see that. But so the idea is to create the Apotheos religion and begin training building the first temple of Black Wings, which is like a meta elite of the meta elite. 1% of all of creation or less will be able to even be considered meta elite, and then they have to be trained over long periods of time and stuff like that. I'm going to create this temple that is an interstellar, intergalactic um, training ground that spreads to other planets as part of the religion we're building. And this religion is about self improvement, self identification, self actualization, less about God or worshiping God. It's more about the individual as a person. And I'll build this temple, and it'll be filled with people who are travelers, time travelers, who won't be able to directly say they're travelers because of the way causality works, but they'll be from future temples to help me guide and build this first temple. And then in the distant future, they'll send troops back, which I'll be interacting with, and I am interacting with already. That like it's it's awesome. It'll be part of the building of the Multiverse Spacetime Command, or MULSPATCOM, of the Network Hyper Intelligence Collective, or just the network is what I refer to it as. And while I'm doing this, I can train myself to become a king of some future guild government in the far off future after the network takes over. And like, it's going to be cool. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. It's going to be hardships, distress, sublimation of intolerable emotions. But like a raptor testing the cage to find a weakness, I will continue to systematically smash my head into the wall until I figure out how to get out of this cage. Metaphorically speaking, of course. But yeah, so like yesterday was enjoyable up until I started thinking about all the trauma, and then it was a shitty day. I created a new social media cluster account intended to open the doors for people to talk directly, but everyone's so fucking scared now that no one does. Um, I talked a lot about free will, whether or not we have it, and if we don't have it, we have to figure out how we get it, because if we don't have it, then we're all screwed. And what else? So this summer, I'll be training for boxing. I'm going to really get into it after I get over this little slump of just depression. I'll be training I call it spiritual discipline. And discipline has this connotation that like your will is broken and you're forced to do something, but it's self-discipline, spiritual discipline, which means that it's not breaking my will, it's refining myself through my own efforts to have greater willpower, greater ethos, greater ethics, stronger, just stronger overall. And that's the whole point of the boxing training. It's not to um, beat people up or some masochistic thing or like whatever. It's spiritual disciplining me, training my will to win, the will to power essentially. And I'm going to be doing several other things. I'm building a garden, which is kind of cool, an automated garden. I'll be reading a whole bunch, studying ethics and philosophy, writing a whole bunch, playing games, creating fictional realities, which I know are fiction, don't get me wrong. I just try to blur the line. And continuing this journal and the A-List program, which for me right now is spiritual discipline through boxing and ethics training and philosophy training, and growing gardens and reading and writing and studying programming to learn how to program games. Things look dire right now on the world stage, but like if the bombs go off, they go off. You know, there's not a lot we can do about it because our leadership is runaway. And even if they don't go off, bad things could happen. Food shortages, you know, like that were predicted years ago. Um, Global warming, terrorism, government tyranny, all sorts of shit. But we'll persevere or we won't. You know, like it'll all play out. It may not be good, it may not all be okay, but it'll all play out. That is guaranteed. That's why I fret it. Work to shape it, work to manipulate reality, work to counter evil. But don't die dreading it. Don't let your life get wasted by the belief that like at some point in the future everyone ends up in hell, like weeping and gnashing of teeth because God hates us all, and like we have no ability to prevent it. So like it's something that you can prepare for, I guess, with meditation. But in the reality is that like everyone ends up in hell. No one escapes it ever. You can run for a long time, as the Johnny Cash song says, but like eventually God's gonna cut you down. And like I mean that in the sense of like we all die. We all go into the afterlife, and none of us will be upright in front of God. And so like it's something that like you have to accept. Like you have to accept that you will die one day, and you have to accept and know without fear, or with fear or whatever, suppress it if you can, but like you have to know that one day you will end up in the darkest pits of hell, and everyone is there. Every human who is famous throughout human history is there in hell. And it's the fate of our species essentially. But there's no reason to fear it. Not in the sense of like if it doesn't aid you and drive you like that song "Death Drives Me Like a Dog" or like a rabbit is driven by a dog or whatever, then it does nothing for you. Like hell should refine you in the sense of like setting you free from fear and like experiencing the ultimate pain or whatever. It's I don't know, man. I guess what I'm trying to say is no matter what happens, it will play out and we all end up in hell anyways. So try to live your life to the fullest, do what you think is morally right, be upright when you can, try not to betray or do evil. When you do evil, forgive yourself and don't do it again. Repent, I guess is the term, but like I don't know, man. Do the best you can. That's my thoughts for the morning.